Today I wanted to talk to you about the importance not only of meditation and visioning, but I want to talk to you about the how we infuse the collective consciousness and why it's so important to have these meditations in which millions of people come together and stop and begin to vision a kind and just global society, begin to vision the next stage of human evolution, begin to vision peace and dynamic good on the planet. Why is that so important? Now, the universe evolves through two things, through synergy and through emergence, meaning that we are always surrounded by infinite potential and infinite possibilities. And when an idea whose time has come, to quote Victor Hugo, that idea will emerge, and it doesn't matter what's going on with the political system or an economic system. That idea emerges and catches the energy of humanity, and then that idea begins to manifest. So when individuals come together to meditate, and they come together to pray, and they come together to do life visioning, and they are making themselves the proper condition for that kind of idea to emerge. And it's a way by which we take our power back, because individuals have the tendency to think that there's a power out there, that governments and potentates and corporate heads and people out there have power and can determine the destiny of humanity. And we know that's a failed concept, because generally speaking, individuals in that kind of power, that's called pseudo power, if they're not evolved spiritually, they just basically use their skills and their skillful means to attain more power and more money, not necessarily embrace humanity or become good stewards of the planet. You see that, of course, throughout our corporate structure, where the downside of capitalism is capital always seeks return, which is why the trickle-down theory never works, because when you, for instance, bail out a corporation, it doesn't trickle down to the employees, because capital seeks return. So they take the capital and buy something else. They invest in something else, but not necessarily in their people. So there's pseudo power, corporate heads, politicians, career politicians. And I'm not saying all politicians are bad. Don't hear me say that. I'm just saying the structure is interesting. Now, back to where you're concerned. Everything evolves through emergence. What does that look like? You take a little seed of a rose plant, a rose bush. You plant that seed in the soil, and the soil is absolutely nurturing to the seed. The condition is right. What happens? That seed gives birth to a shoot and a stalk. It emerges from the seed. And from that power of emergence, a rose bush emerges. And then from the rose bush, roses emerge to glorify the beauty and the love of pure spirit. So everything evolves through emergence, you see. Now that's a simple metaphor, analogy, I should say, of the power of emergence. Now, you and I right now are surrounded by divine and perfect spiritual ideas. They're in the mind of love intelligence, the divine mind. And those ideas are waiting to emerge, but they will emerge when the condition is right. And we are to become the right and ripe condition. That is, when we stop and we begin to vision the great possibilities, we begin to articulate great possibilities. We begin to proclaim and declare and decree the great possibilities. We begin to see better ways. And then as a collective, we begin to vibrate around that vision, that declaration, that proclamation, that affirmation, that feeling tone. Then regardless of what's happening in the world of phenomena at that particular moment, that idea will start to emerge through the soil of our consciousness and will manifest in the world And it does not matter what's happening in the world of phenomena. Now, of course, in the world of phenomena, we do want great laws. We do want a great legal system. We do want a justice system that's justice for all, for real. We do want a healthcare system that does not just cater to those who have money, but respond to everyone exactly the same. We do want those things structurally, because systemically they're now full of racist tendencies and class tendencies. However, when enough people garner an idea and really vibrate with that idea, then that idea begins to emerge and it begins to pull people into what is called divine right action. That is, we start to have the will and the willpower to take on some of the issues that we're facing on this planet, but with the idea of what that looks like. Not just working against something we don't want, but actually being infused with the idea and the energy and the feeling of what we do want to see and what we are holding in our awareness as a vision and as a feeling tone. So it brings me back. Today, at 3 p.m., I'm partnering with Zion Earth, Sionearth. You can look it up. And this is our third New Earth global meditation. The first one had about 11 million people that we could identify. We know it had more than that, but we didn't get all the numbers in from India and Africa and other countries. But we know we had at least 11 million people that tuned in and meditated as I led a visioning at that particular time. The second time we had a very similar number, maybe more, but there was some censorship on some of the social media platforms. Whenever we got to too big a number, they would cut it off for some reason. And we weren't advocating violence, we weren't doing anything negative, but praying. But for some reason, we got censored on different platforms. So we know we had more than what we account for. So today, at 3 p.m., I and Brandy Alexandra Sabella, who's producing this, and we've been working together for a long time, will be hosting this particular event. So you can go to Agape's website or Michael Bernard Beckwith's website, Facebook page, and tune in. Or you can even go to zionearth.com and tune in that way. And you'll be participating with millions of people in great music. It's going to be a special kind of music that harmonizes our energetic bodies to high frequency. There's going to be some chakra tuning. And there's going to be me closing it with a meditation around the new earth, around the kind and just global society, around an election cycle that's peaceful and honest and just. We're going to look at the antidote and the vibrational frequency to dissolve pedophilia and human sexual trafficking. We're going to begin to envision a world that's free from all of that, but more importantly, not only free from all of that, but a kind of just global society where every being matters, every being is important, that all needs are met for all of us. And interestingly enough, we do live in a time right now where we have everything necessary to solve every problem on the planet. We just want the willingness and the consciousness to do it, which means as citizens, we may have to go beyond mere governments. As citizens, we have to rise up and take on these particular issues according to our gifted nature. You know, I was very proud of these young people a few years ago who had secured their financial security at a very young age. And they decided that they were going to use their time to solve issues around the world. And so instead of going through governments politics, of policy. They would meet on their skateboards. They would meet, they would take an issue. There's a certain country in Africa that doesn't have any water. They would gather their resources together, fly there, handle the issue, and then fly back home. They transcended governments, they transcended the local politics of the whole thing. They just handled it. And they did a number of issues just like that. They came together as citizens, they had the means, they had the visions, and they took care of business. There are more and more people on the planet that are doing just that in terms of school for individuals in countries where schooling is very difficult, particularly for women in Africa. Individuals are taking on water issues. Individuals are taking on power issues. Individuals are taking on issues of freeing slaves, sexual slaves. And this is outside of governments. These are just individuals who have a passion for these particular issues and handle their business according to their giftedness and their skillful means. So at 3, we're going to come into a visioning. And that's going to be, it's not going to be long, to actually bring all of us together and hold the frequency and the vibration of an earth and a planet and a society, a global society that is about love, that is about dynamic peace, that is about well-being, is about wellness, is about harmonizing prosperity, creativity, and the unleashing of the power from the very depth of our soul. So I'm inviting you, if you didn't know about it already, to join in. Come in a little bit before 3 p.m. at the Facebook site. If you want to know a little bit more about it, you can go to, you're on my Instagram now. There is a promo about it on my Instagram. You can actually watch it. It's only a couple of minutes, and it'll explain exactly what we're trying to do. You can go to zionearth.com and see the same thing. This is what I'm calling all of us to do today. To come to a complete stop. Invite your friends. Have a watch party. Let's get as many people as possible to stop what we're doing. It's not going to be hours. It's going to be less than an hour of us being together. But it's going to be impactful because of the number of us will be imprinting the noosphere. Pierre de Chardin coined a word called the noosphere, which is kind of like the mental atmosphere of the planet, that we all put something in the noosphere when we think or when we act. We want to imprint the mental atmosphere, the noosphere, with the idea of peace, with the idea of love, with the idea of a kind and just global society, with the idea that we can harness our consciousness and embrace our rainforests, which are down to almost 5% now. You know, that's the lungs of the earth. That's where so many medicines come from that heal people, real heal people, not just get away symptoms. And it's down to less than 5% because of the runaway slashing and burning of it to create farmland for more cattle, to give the cattle food that people could eat to have more meat on the planet. And then that, of course, creates, more pollution with all the cows. Anyway, the rainforest needs to be protected. The Black Hills need to be protected. I was just with Orville Looking Horse, and his people are protectors of the Black Hills. And so there's so many areas of the planet where we have to become stewards of. We have to fall back in love with Mother Earth, you see. And so all of these issues are systemic because humanity has lost its way and are out of touch with the earth and out of touch with their own soul. They're out of touch with their built-in intentionality. What do I mean by that? For those of you who just completed my class, and for those of you who just completed my 3-day meditation retreat, I spoke about our built-in intentionality. That is, every being, everything of creation has a built-in intentionality. It's already there. We don't have to put it there. The rose that I described earlier has a built-in intentionality to glorify the presence of God with beauty. God smiles through flowers. You have a built-in intentionality to glorify the presence with being an instrument of intelligence. I didn't say intellect. Intelligence, love, beauty, abundance, creativity. And so we want to embrace our built-in intentionality. Another name for the built-in intentionality is the will of God. And back in the old days, when people were caught up in religiosity, they saw God as some man in the sky doing tricks and having chosen people and things of that particular nature. Well, we've evolved to the point now where we know that's not true. That was superstitious. That the Goddess, presence, that's never an absence of love and beauty and intelligence. That's its essence. Doesn't change up on itself, doesn't compromise its own nature. So when we say the will of God is always 100% for a greater expression of life, a greater expression of what God is. So our built-in intentionality, as we embrace it, we're opening ourselves up to a greater expression of life, so that the universal presence can come into its own as each and every one of us can know itself as our life. So, humanity is at its best when it takes its singular, introspective, spiritual technologies for awakening and expands it to embracing all of humanity and being a part of the emergence of something that will take us all to the next level of our living. Remember what I said at the beginning of this? The entire universe evolves through emergence. An idea whose time has come when the condition is right. The question is, are you vibrationally the right condition? Are you the right condition for the new idea to emerge? Have you dissolved or embraced your fears, worry, doubt, unforgiveness, resentment, animosities, rivalries, projections of unhealed areas in your own life onto other people? Have you worked with that long enough so that you're becoming the condition for emergence on the planet at this time in human history?
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.